This is a 2019 Suzuki Jimny, and it is hand on heart the car that I've been most looking forward to review this year, as it's one of the few cars that I've followed ever since its first spy shots in LA, then it got leaked in a dealer presentation, then more spy shots of the interior, then its official launch, and finally, it's here. The Jimny is a return of an icon and fills a hole in the market for customers wanting a new, small, cheap and reliable car to venture off-road. The Jimny sits on a proper body-on-frame architecture, and judging by the videos currently online, I don't doubt its off-road credentials. Power comes from a 1.5-litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, producing 100 brake horsepower and 138 Nm of torque, with a selectable 4-wheel drive through a manual transfer case. I really like the styling of the new Jimny. People have compared it to a mini G-Wagon, and it's not hard to see why. I think it balances cute, rugged and tough perfectly. Suzuki incorporated design features that play homage to previous generations, such as the front grille with circular headlights, horizontal slits below the pillars, and the rear lights. What hits you first is just how small the thing is. It's actually shorter than the previous model, whilst being taller and wider. In terms of models, there's two to choose from. You can either have a manual or an automatic. That's it. There's only one spec level that comes to Australia, and it's pretty much fully loaded. Standard, you get 16-inch alloy wheels, LED headlights with automatic high beam, a 7-inch infotainment system, leather-wrapped steering wheel, and autonomous emergency braking with lane departure warning. So whilst the Jimny looks classic and retro, its technology is certainly modern. Here is the key. As simple as it gets, lock and unlock. So let's start her up. The door cards and the doors themselves are quite thin. They're not too tinny when you shut the door, and there's a good hand grip, but that means there's no space for a bottle holder. Inside is the same 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel lifted from the Swift, and it looks really nice. It's the newer design with the circular hub, and with the chrome and with the Suzuki logo. And on the left, there's controls for media, Bluetooth telephone, and on the right, cruise control. In the center is a small monochrome driver's information display, and you can toggle through different menus such as instant fuel economy, average fuel economy, range, average speed, and driving time. We can have them blank. And it also displays the time and the temperature. And on the left is the tachometer, and on the right, speedo. And there are these circular dials encased in square pods, which is a harkback to the original Jimnys, and I think looks really neat. In the center is the same 7-inch infotainment system that powers most other Suzukis, and it has most of the basics. So there's AM and FM radio with Bluetooth phone streaming, but sadly no digital radio. Inbuilt satellite navigation, which is fantastic, powered by the SD card. There's also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, and Bluetooth phone calling. The unit is all touch, so that means it forgoes a volume knob, which is a minus, but at least the system is quick to respond, although the graphics look a little bit dated. Single zone climate control. You can control the temperature with the right dial and push it into automatic. There's also manual fan speed adjustment, front and rear defrost, different fan modes, and recirculation. There are no controls on the driver or passenger's door panel, so their power window switches are in the center. There's also hill descent control and stability control off. Single USB port, which links to the smartphone connect system, and a 12-volt power outlet. Small tray on the bottom, which is, let's see, probably just big enough to fit my iPhone, but any larger phones probably wouldn't. This one is an automatic from park all the way down to drive, and it's a 4-speed, which is a bit of a hark to history, because it's probably, I think, it might be the only car on sale. Oh no, some of the Yaris's are still 4-speed, but one of the very last 4-speed automatics. Manual transfer case from 2 high, 4 high, and push down for 4 low, and a manual handbrake. There's also a small cubby and 2 small cup holders. On the passenger side, there's a grab handle, small shelf, and also a glove box. In terms of seat comfort, the seats themselves are quite supportive, although they don't adjust for height in the same way the steering wheel doesn't adjust for reach. The seats go back just far enough for my body frame, but if you're any taller than me, it might be quite uncomfortable. And they've used a hard-wearing seat fabric, and it looks decent as well. Above the driver, really simple, just a standard dome light. The sun visors for the driver and front passenger both get vanity mirrors and a card holder. But as you can see, they are tiny. And add in the fact that they don't extend, they win the award for probably the most useless to protect the driver from the sun from the side. Right, now to get into the rear seats is a bit of a two-step process, because with most cars it's just one lever and it tilts the backrest and moves the seat forward. But with the Jimny, it's a two-step system. So tilt the seat forward and manually slide it. What that also means is that I'm not able to push the seat back from where I am. But trust me, if the driver is tall, the rear seat passengers won't have much room. Now I'm 6'3" or 190 centimeters, and I've got just enough headroom thanks to its boxy shape. But as I said, legroom be an issue if there's a tall driver. There are big side windows, so for a short journey that will be fine, but these seats aren't very high off the ground, and in conjunction with not enough legroom, I'm not sure I'd be very comfortable for a longer journey. And also, I'm scarily close to the back window. But the rear seats can also recline, and there's good shoulder room because there's only two seats. Now around the back, the boot door opens pretty easily with the aid of a gas strut. And once it's open, with the two rear seats up, there's only 85 liters of space, barely big enough for a backpack. But the rear seats do fold down, and they're also shockingly light. And once they're down, there's 377 liters, which is a much more respectable figure. The opening is also really nice and square, and the backs of the seats are also texturized with this plastic material, so you don't need to worry about it damaging any of the fabric. Underneath, there is a handy little cubby shelf at the bottom, and there are also two child seat mounts at the bottom. Now unfortunately, due to the demand for these things, I can't take this for a test drive or actually take it away from the dealership. But when a new demo model comes in, you can make sure that I will take one for a test drive, and I'll take you along as well. But until then, drive safe, and I'll see you next week.